I'm beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Hey, welcome to another episode. If you do enjoy this video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Game number 48, NBA Jam 99. Released in 1998, this game was developed by Iguana West and published by Acclaim. We got the second basketball game of the challenge here, with there being quite a lot in total on the N64, so it's not too surprising. Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking, oh man, NBA Jam, this is going to be awesome. Well, I got bad news for you. This is not the game you're thinking of. That game is NBA Hang Time, which is what the old NBA Jam devs worked on. This is a completely different group who worked on this, so it's quite different. First thing I noticed in the main menu was a skills mode. It had a 3-point contest, which I decided to check out. I used to like playing these back in the day on basketball games like NBA Live. I went with the GOAT, Reggie Miller. It just has you shooting 3-pointers from 5 different locations, something they do in the All-Star weekend in the NBA. It's not relevant to beating the game, but it was a decent introduction to how shooting works, I guess. So the way we handle sports games in this challenge is we check to see if there's a single-player story mode. If not, then we just beat the championship of this sport in the quickest way possible. This game has a playoffs mode, and within that, I can lower it to a 1-game series rather than 7. I decided to play as the Bulls because they're just a really strong team from this era of basketball. My first game was up against the New Jersey Nets. They had some stars with Sam Cassell, Keith Van Horn, and Jason Williams. But I was the Bulls with the amazing roster of Ron Harper, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Luke Longley, and of course, roster guard. Yeah, Michael Jordan never let games use his likeness in them, so they either just didn't have him or had a default character be him. Gameplay, it's just your typical 5 vs 5 basketball simulator. Seems like they just went for a more realistic basketball game for the time period. The stats are a bit off, because Jordan stole the ball and he had a fast break. Instead of dunking, he pulled up for a jumper and got absolutely rejected. I was down 4-0 in the first quarter when Jordan had a big dunk to bring it back to 4-2. It was a bit rough for me at first, with the first quarter ending with me down 9-2. Early on in the second, Ron Harper had a nice drive with a jumper going in and one. This led to my first free throws of the game. The way they did it is a bit strange. It shows a large circle with the basket and the ball moving around it. You have to move the ball into the basket, but it resists going there heavily, like it tries to force it away from the center. Later, Keith Van Horn had a massive backwards dunk. You can see the influence of the older NBA jams a tiny bit when someone dunks, as it switches to a different camera angle for them, kinda to give them emphasis, I guess. Halfway through the second quarter, and Jordan gets fouled incredibly hard, but he was okay, thankfully. And man, he was fired up after that. He had a break to the basket and dunked it between the legs. What a flashy move there from roster guard himself. At the end of the second quarter, I was up 16-15. Third quarter was pretty uneventful with low scoring, having me down 23-22 with 1 remaining. The fourth quarter started hot, with Ron Harper getting back-to-back fast break dunks to put the Bulls up 26-23. It was a stalemate after that, with the score tied at 26, all down to the final seconds. Sam Cassell was bringing the ball up court when Jordan stole it and slammed it home, putting the Bulls up by 2 with 1 second to go. The Nets called a timeout, and the pass was inbounded to Sam Cassell, and he made a fadeaway jumper at the buzzer, sending it into overtime. Overtime was going back and forth like crazy. You see Sam Cassell making an insanely unlikely hook shot. The Bulls were down 1 with little time to go, and Keith Van Horn slammed it home with a little over 2 seconds to go. The Bulls called a timeout, putting Steve Kerr in, down by 3. They passed it into him. Steve Kerr drains it at the buzzer, sending it into double overtime. He's got ice water in his veins, folks. What a call by the coach there, honestly. All credit goes to him. Towards the end of the second overtime, the Bulls were down 4. They had a real opportunity to take this one, but the shots just weren't there, missing 3 shots in a row, allowing the Nets to take it 56-52. I don't know, I tried to do like a Sports Center highlight reel style thing there. Let me know what you think. Like, is it out of place, or I don't know. know, it might spice these sports game videos up a bit. Anyway, after that loss, I decided the Bulls sucked, and I switched to the Pacers. My first game, coincidentally, was against the Chicago Bulls. The Pacers had their own stacked roster of Mark Jackson, Chris Mullin, Rick Smits, and of course, Reggie Miller. I feel like this game has a bit of rubber banding because it seems like the score was always close. The first quarter in this one ended with me up 10-9. During gameplay, you hear noises you'd hear at a real basketball game. The shoes squeaking, the crowd cheering, and the occasional little song you'd hear at a sports match. The good thing this game has is the commentators. They have many different lines and they talk frequently.
He goes up for the shot. Oh, the ball just popped out of it. It's the pass.
I'm not exactly sure, but it really sounds like they got Marv Albert on this game, which that's kind of nuts. I have no clue who the other guy is though. I was up by 2 points with 11 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. In a modern basketball game, the opponent would intentionally foul you here, forcing you to shoot free throws to give them a better chance at winning. But this game doesn't really have that, so I just dribbled around in circles until the clock ran out, taking my first win in this game. My next game was against the Charlotte Hornets. They got a few solid players themselves with Glenn Rice and Vlade Divac. The game's controls were pretty intuitive, something you'd expect out of a realistic basketball game, I guess. You can obviously do things like shoot, pass, go for a steal, and go for a block. I really like that it had a pass selector like modern games have. It's definitely the way to go for a basketball game. Anyway, this game was super low scoring, but I took it 26-25. Really seems like there's some rubber banding going on. Next up was the New Jersey Nets. The Pacers can surely beat these guys, unlike the Bulls. This one got a little sketchy with Dale Davis being the one at the free throw line towards the end. But this dude is clutch still, or the free throws are really easy to make in this game. One or the other. I took this one 32-31. Now it was the NBA Championship Finals. We were up against the Phoenix Suns. They had a few stars with Jason Kidd and Anthony McDyess. Man, this was like the era of the NBA I grew up with, so just seeing these names, it's a lot of nostalgia for me. I don't really watch sports anymore, but I did back then, and I recognize lots of these guys. The game was tied at the end of the fourth quarter with Jason Kidd throwing up a last-second three-pointer. Thankfully, it didn't go in. Into overtime we go. It was all tied up at the end of overtime, and I called a timeout. The ball was inbounded to Reggie Miller, and you already know, that shot went in. He is a legend, dude. The Pacers had won the NBA championship. It doesn't give you any kind of credits or even an ending cutscene or an image or anything like that. Honestly, pretty lame. They don't do anything for winning the finals. So yeah, there you have it. My journey to beating NBA Jam 99. When I initially drew this game, I thought it was the one I'd played back in the day, but nah, it's just another generic basketball game. I say this every time, but these realistic basketball games just don't age well like the arcade style ones do. The game had decent graphics, the commentators were good, and it controlled pretty well. But in the end, playing a sports game single player, it's really repetitive. I gave it a 2 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 2 out of 10 for difficulty. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. But yeah, thanks for watching, and here's a sneak peek at what is coming next. So we have 343 left, and then there's 3 that's not on the list, which is intentional. We will see what we get. 3, 2, 1. Go. 285, what is that? Yes! This is the one I wanted! We are playing Space Station Silicon Valley. Yes, this is the one I've been saying I wanted. Alrighty. I played this as a kid and it was really cool, and I've not seen the game since. So now we will see, was it actually cool or does it suck?